So this stuff happens. All right, now,
Good morning,
Good morning,
Peggy.
Peggy.
good morning. I'm here with you finally.
Oh, it's great to see you
See you.
after a long weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys too. Hector Luna,
Yes.
Thais Missouri, and at Action Network. Are you guys in Point Arena?
Yes.
We are. We're in our offices here at 200 Main Street, right across from Franny's Cup and Saucer.
Lucky you guys. Lucky you guys. So you guys had a good weekend too?
Yes, it was great.
It was nice.
Mhm.
Very safe. Very safe. Very kind of not too much going on. That was a good thing.
That was a good thing. Fairly quiet in our neighborhood. Well, let's get started because we've lost a few minutes here. Action Network does a lot of wonderful community work, and now you are working on a campaign that is a really, I'm going to say heavy duty, important. Human trafficking. Human trafficking, there are a lot of myths about it. You know, people always think it happens over there, it happens over there. Nobody wants to believe it happens right here. We happen to have known for a long time that it happens right here, sadly in Point Arena. So, and let's talk about why you got involved in this, Thais.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank you so much for having us on the air. This is a prevention education campaign against human trafficking, and we feel like it's so important that our communities here on the Redwood Coast are made aware of what human trafficking is, the steps we can take to prevent it. As a bystander, what do you do if you think somebody's being trafficked? And I got into it because I've been working in the field of social justice and a lot around human trafficking for the last couple of decades. And I've seen a lot of exploited and missing children in my life, have worked with different governments to get them back in different communities to create campaigns. And I didn't even know it was happening here on the coast because I was just turning a blind eye, I guess. I hadn't really heard stories, but the last couple of years, I've heard more and more stories about human trafficking, both employment and sex trafficking, and went, wow. And I think Action Network is positioned to take that on as far as the education prevention part. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Hector, what about you? Why did you decide to be a part of this?
I'm studying to become a criminologist, so I thought it would be like an interesting outtake, and I'm studying in Sacramento State. And so when Thais proposed me taking on, a preventative work in human trafficking, I was all for it. I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. This is what interests me. This is a passion of mine, and what better way to do it than do it in my own community, that I've been part of. So yeah, this is such a emotional and important subject to talk about.
It is. It absolutely is. And is there a difference between human trafficking and sex trafficking? You use the term separately, so
Yes, sex trafficking is more of, it's doing a sex act for commercial purposes. Human trafficking encompasses all of it. It encompasses people who work doing things that are not related to sex at all. And it could be like the trimming, people don't get paid for it, they get exploited. That encompasses human trafficking. So it's a work for profit or not even work, it could be a sex act, but it encompasses everything, about
so
not
so
being.
so so men and women could
Everybody gets trafficked.
can be
Everyone
taken
gets
and
trafficked.
put to slave labor, basically,
Exactly.
somewhere.
That's right. And because there are a lot of sort of underground businesses, if you will, here on the Redwood Coast, nobody's tracking that. So you might, for instance, have the trimmers that come in, and often that results not only in trimming and people not getting paid, but also being asked to do sexual favors under the table or in the back room, whatever it might be. So there's that going on. Also in hospitality, it's known a lot that people that work in hospitality are also very much in a position where if they open their mouths or say that anything and maybe they're not legally working, that they'll get kicked out and therefore their employer can hold it over their heads and not pay them or pay them half the amount they should be. There's a lot of things that happen. My biggest concern is children
Hmm.
being trafficked, and it happens by families basically renting their kids out to the guy down the street, or um, people that need a little extra money, invite somebody over to be with their children. And it's a great concern because I am the kind of person that wants to give a voice to the voiceless and really protect the young people who don't know what's going on. And our program, Peggy, will be going not only out into the community, but also into the schools. We'll be educating teachers and students and getting young people kind of up to date on what are the things you look for.
Especially our young generation, there's with social media, it's so easy to entice people with promises and lies. So you have to watch out for social media as well. What are your kids seeing? What content are they seeing? It's a very troubling state that we're in.
I remember a few years ago, one of my great nieces in Montana was in a very small town, and she was at home alone. She was like, 12 or something, and she was on Facebook and saying, "Oh, I'm all home alone tonight." And I was horrified, and I got a hold of her mother immediately and said, "Do you know your daughter is on Facebook and telling people she's home alone?" Because her mother didn't know that and of course her daughter, being a child, wasn't thinking about any of those consequences. But now that was, I mean, obviously nothing happened there, but those kinds of innocent things that children do and don't realize that there are predators out there looking for them. Television is full of these shows about predators, and it's uh, a lot of people just, again, don't know how serious this is. I mentioned earlier that we know that this has been going on right here in our backyard for a long time, because I know of another organization that did a lot of work in that area. And yet we saw, sadly, often the police turning their heads.
Because a lot of our local sheriff deputies do not know what to do. It's a very tricky situation. We created a task force. Action Network created a task force with Project Sanctuary, our domestic violence organization in Fort Bragg, and Verity, our human trafficking organization in Santa Rosa. So our three organizations have come together to figure out a protocol, how to work together, what kind of education prevention to put out there, how to communicate with each other. We've been talking to the Department of Justice and just finished a long, almost half a year training on protocols and how to present something like this to a rural region, because rural regions are different than urban regions when it comes to human trafficking. And that's
How's
another,
that?
well, we don't have the law enforcement on the ground keeping an eye on things. So it is really kind of up to us, neighbors helping neighbors, all of us keeping an eye out for the other person. And your neighbor, somebody you might know, somebody might have said something, and instead of thinking, oh, that's just gossip and I shouldn't get involved, Action Network has worked on a protocol,
A 5-step protocol.
a 5-step protocol.
We need to recognize, we need to respond, we need to refer people to the right organizations that will help them. Some people need help with immigration, others with housing. We have to restore their self purpose, their some people are emotionally broken when they go through things like this. So they need a lot of therapy, and they need to believe in themselves and be okay with themselves at the end of the day.
So, Hector, what are some of the signs that we should be looking for
Yeah.
or aware of?
Um, a lot of people have, aggressive personalities when they go with their aggressor. When you see a victim and they're with their trafficker, sometimes they get a little too possessive of them, or they have markings on their wrist, like barcodes that usually tells them that they're their property. You know, rose markings. They call them, and they have daddy tattooed across their neck or their chest. Things like that. You could also see bruises. If you see somebody who has bruises in places where they shouldn't, their legs, their arms, their face, you should talk to them or try to reconcile, be like, hey, are you okay? Um, what's happening? And then people, if they feel comfortable enough, they will talk to you, but you have to warm up to those people.
You can't just
Or-
stop someone and,
No.
you
And
said you
also
have to
people
warm
will
up.
tell you, people sometimes come to your organization to like, oh my God, this is happening to me. I don't know what I should do. We give them the tools to be like, okay, you need to call the police, make a report, or call us, and we'll know what to do.
So we have set it up, Peggy, so Action Network is ready to move. If somebody thinks someone is being trafficked, human trafficking, whether it's sex trafficking, in their job, whatever it is, we can now receive that phone call and help because we have the line of communication with other organizations to hopefully keep people safe and make recommendations for the legal help they need as well. We have also recently, we have this wonderful new marriage family therapist, and her big approach is trauma informed therapy. And she said, oh, I'd love to work with people that need help kind of getting, you know, uh, out of a situation like this or going into recovery psychologically and otherwise. So that's the good part right here in our community. Action Network
Mhm.
is ready to step forward, and we're saying, hey guys, we're here. We've got our protocol in place so people know there's somewhere to go for help.
Let me ask you this. There's uh, at least 2 steps into this. I mean, the bigger just taking them out of context in a sense, but one, helping the person who is being trafficked and get out of the situation, and then helping them heal. Uh, I can't imagine that it can be as simply as someone walking in and saying, "I want out, I need help." Hopefully that happens, but it's not often that simple, is it, for someone to escape this type of situation?
No, sometimes it's not that simple. Sometimes it takes more work, and that's why we're here. And if at whatever time they feel like they need to get the help, we're here to help them.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, if they need mental help, we're here to help them. If they want to go somewhere else that they feel maybe more comfortable, we can refer them to that. It all depends on the victim and what they want and feel comfortable with, because we're not here to rush people into taking steps that they may not be ready for.
There is, because we are in connection with Project Sanctuary and Verity, the two organizations that we've created that task force with, we do have access to safe housing,
Hmm.
food, clothing, trauma therapy, getting people a job. A lot of people that are trafficked, the ones that are vulnerable are often those that are living in poverty. There might be cultural factors involved. It may be somebody who has a feeling of hopelessness. And
Hmm.
so this is kind of the only thing they're able to do, they think. They may have their own past traumatic experiences that kind of lead them into a lifestyle, or they're not able to get out of it because they don't know psychologically how to get out of it. Um, and a lot of people, especially women who are houseless, otherwise known as homeless, um, are victims. Somebody comes up on the street, hey, I can make sure that you have a place to live and give you a job, but it might be right then and there sex trafficking. we used to call traffickers pimps back in the day, but now we call them traffickers. The language has changed, which I find interesting. And there's over 20 million people globally that are trafficked. And 68% of those are in forced labor.
Hmm.
And 26% are children. It's a $150 billion industry.
And Peggy, a lot of people who are trafficked, especially in the art area, might be Latino, might not know the language, and might not even recognize that they're being trafficked, that they're being exploited. And so it's our job to be like, okay, well, this shouldn't be happening to you. This is not okay. This is not a norm. You're being trafficked. You need help. And here are the steps that we can do for you. We could find you housing, perhaps a job, help you get a job, and things like that. Like, people need help, and that's what our organization is here trying to give them. We have the resources, and we can do it.
Now, are traffickers, are they always male? Can women be traffickers as well?
Yes, anyone can be a trafficker. Your doctor could be a trafficker. Literally, I think there was a case that a physician was trafficking child porn, and it's still a sex act. It's still a child. It's still a trafficking. He's getting money for a sex act. So yeah, anyone can be a trafficker. Any of any religion, any job title. Um, yeah, it's
I
really
think because of crime shows, people have this image that it's this dark organization somewhere, in the darkness is what I mean. Somewhere this is happening again over there somewhere.
and
It
like
can't be
yeah, like
happening in a community like ours where everybody is peace and love and happiness,
Well,
ecology.
And like Tay said, sometimes it's family members who traffic their own.
Yeah.
It's very prevalent, especially in homeless youth and people who are in foster care. Oftentimes they get trafficked and nobody knows about it.
Mm.
Because-
Here's the other piece of the story that's kind of hard to hear, because we're not accusing anybody in our region of doing this. But we want everybody to be kind of keeping an eye out and, an awareness going on,
Right.
and know that we're here to help. Because we are surrounded by Sonoma County, the Bay Area, Sacramento County, where a lot of money is made, we get what you call transport trafficking, where people will come in for a weekend and rent an Airbnb. They may in the backwoods, or they might rent a hotel room, and nobody's watching the shop here. Again, I mean, they come here a couple of nights, 3 nights, people come and pay to use the victims. And then that van, or whatever kind of vehicle it is, moves on to the next rural county, be it Shasta County, Modoc County. And this is really happening. People
Oh
are
my
going in
God.
and out of these rural counties with the victims in these vehicles and trafficking them in hotel rooms and
Mhm.
Airbnbs.
Sex vacations.
Yeah.
That's for these users. It's just sickening to think about this going on, even though, as an adult, as a journalist, I know this has been going on all over the world for a long time. And when I think particularly of the children, I'm worried about those children from the border who have not been found. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. And yeah, I'm not going to point fingers at who could be behind a lot of that either.
Yeah.
But thinking that this is, as you say, I hadn't, the Airbnb thing. Oh my God. Oh my God. And people may not even know that they're helping this
Exactly.
practice continue. Mm,
Well,
mm.
again, the awareness. And we realized when we took this on, it's kind of risky business in a way that we even put this
Talk
out
about it.
publicly.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of just keep it, low key, and make sure that people that need to be educated and bring that awareness to our community are. We're not the police, we're not law enforcement, but we're really here to help the victims.
We just have 3 minutes left. This has gone so quickly, and I appreciate you guys coming out, taking this on, coming out, making it public. What is it that you want us as a public to do for Action Network? What can we do to help?
Be vigilant, research the topic, come to us for any questions. We're here as a light, to guide you and perhaps show you some knowledge about what we're all about, what our human trafficking protocol is. So if you want to contact us and learn more about it, we're here for it.
You can also look at our website, that's actionnetwork.info. And we will be posting a PowerPoint that tells people all about trafficking. It's an educational PowerPoint, and they can read more about our project and how we're launching it. And I agree with Hector, be vigilant, reach out to us, find out about the protocol. Store owners, hotel owners, restaurant owners, those are also our eyes on the ground. They see people coming and going all the time. So we're hoping that they will reach out as well if they think something's suspicious. Doesn't mean we have to know exactly something's going on, but if anybody thinks something was kind of weird.
Yeah, like he was grabbing her a little too tight, or she had bruises on her face and he was being possessive, those kind of questions arise.
Yeah, and we hope to, in the fall, Peggy, have a community meeting about it where we can all just have a conversation about it as well and learn a little bit more together in person as a community. I think it's going to be,
I think that would be great. I think the community could benefit by that a lot. And I think, I applaud you again for your bringing this awareness. One word, actionnetwork.info. What about your phone number?
it's 707-884-5413.
All right. Well, that's going to do it, I'm sorry to say, but I know we will be talking more, and I think this was a good first step to get the information out there. Thais Mazur, Executive Director of Action Network, Hector Luna, thank you so much. And you're so young, Hector, getting involved in this at an early age and wanting to go into criminology. Thank you for all of that. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye. Well, that's going to bring